Hobbs and Shaw came out last night, and I watched it last night, so now it's time to review it. Before we get started, make sure to smash the subscribe button, like button, notification bell, all them buttons. Check the description to join the official Zed Discord, check out Swesta Clothing, follow my Instagram at zed.gaming.movietalk, and without any further ado, Hobbs and Shaw. Sorry, one last thing. Just want to mention that I haven't seen any other Fast and Furious movies. I know, shame on me, but this is a spin-off. In my review, I'm not really looking at it as a Fast and Furious movie. I'm looking at it as what it is, an action comedy movie. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. But finally, let's start talking about the good. I mean, it is a Dwayne Johnson action movie, so you know Dwayne Johnson's going to be likable. But in this movie, all of the cast are likable. Our two leads, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham, Hobbs and Shaw, have great chemistry. Shaw's like a more serious type, and Hobbs just kind of wants to have fun. And that clashes really well with each other. They have great chemistry, and it's really funny to watch them on screen. Vanessa Kirby's also really good in this. She's Jason Statham's badass sister, who kind of serves as, she's kind of the MacGuffin throughout the story, but she still has a character. Her chemistry with Dwayne Johnson's also pretty good. Again, Idris Elba is the stereotypical bad guy, but this movie's self-aware just enough so that it's funny. Like in the opening scene you see in the trailers, he refers to himself as bad guy. This movie knows that it's doing all the tropes and it fully embraces that, and it works great. The action in this movie, like the hand-to-hand combats, is really fast-paced and really well edited and keeps you on the edge of your seat. The music choices are really, really good. There's one specific song I waited through the credits to download. Well, not just to download. There's 4 credit scenes, so stay all the way through the credits when you're watching this. There's some surprise cameos in this movie, 2 in particular that caught me completely off guard and are really, really funny. I was laughing harder than I've laughed in a movie theater in a long time. Of course, that also ties into the comedy in this. This is more an action comedy than any other Fast and Furious movie. Again, I haven't seen the others, so I can't really compare, but from what I've heard, this one's really, really funny. Well, it is funny. There's a particular aspect of the third act of the film, I can talk about it a bit, because it's in the trailers, when he goes to visit his family. That's kind of personal connections for Dwayne Johnson, and that's some really powerful stuff. The final battle is really powerful and symbolic. The final showdown with Idris Elba is really well shot and has some really, really cool shots. It seems kind of weird that all of a sudden they're using this awesome cinematography, but it works, and it's really cool and kind of over the top. But again, it's self-aware, so it works. Now, let's talk about the bad. And there's honestly not that much that comes to mind. Of course, this is a Dwayne Johnson action comedy, so you might expect it to be pretty mediocre, like most of them. Rampage, Skyscraper, and although I gave those movies a pretty positive score, it's mostly for enjoyment factor, not how good of a movie made they are. Sorry, that sentence had really bad grammar, and I'm too lazy to edit it out, but what I meant was this movie's better than a lot of the Dwayne Jackson. It's a lot better than a lot of the Dwayne Johnson action comedy movies. Okay, you got that? Let's move on. However, and like I expected, the movie's plot is pretty weak. Of course, it's a MacGuffin storyline, and it involves the typical end-of-the-world virus. The movie is self-aware, and it realizes its plot is pretty weak. That doesn't make it okay, but it does make it a little more enjoyable. And like I also expected, there are some pretty cheesy lines, especially in the opening, like titular bad guy lines. But, like I always say, it's self-aware. That doesn't make it okay, but it makes it more enjoyable. Yeah, there honestly wasn't that much to say in the bad. So now, the verdict. Overall, a very enjoyable action comedy starring Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham that's better than most of the Dwayne Johnson action comedy movies. Its likable cast and self-awareness makes it really enjoyable and just a really fun time at the theater. You don't need to watch the other Fast and the Furious movies to like this one. It works on its own. I'd say if you like the Fast and Furious movies, you should definitely see this one in theaters. If you're interested in this movie like I was, and not just because of Fast and Furious, also see it in theaters. If it's something that you'd like to watch, but you're not really that interested in it, I'd wait to rent it or whatever you guys do these days. But yeah, you should probably get around to watching this one at some point or another.